Hey guys, it's M4J here, and welcome back to the 12th episode of The Outer Worlds. Take 2. Basically, I recorded pretty much an hour-long video, tweaked some settings before I started it, had a nice little introduction where I talked about the settings that I tweaked at the start of it, and then lots of things went wrong. So the actual video, nothing went wrong in terms of the gameplay. We ticked off some quests. I will talk you through those again in just a second. But in terms of recording, it wasn't just frame stuttering, it was frame freezing. So it would stop on one particular frame. So for example, I was talking to Lilia Hagen, who's the head of Sublight Scavenging. So I talked to her for a little bit during the episode, but it froze on her face for the next 10 minutes of video. So I was talking to Felix, I was talking to Gladys, I was talking to loads of different people, and you didn't know because it was just stuck on her face. You could still hear them talking in the background, but the video hadn't caught up. So I watched a couple of online tutorials between episodes, which I said I was going to do anyway. Tried all those out, nothing helped. So I've kind of done an amalgamation of lots of different things. So we're recording in 4K resolution, I believe, at 60 frames per second, with 12,000 kilobits per second. Let me just remind myself. So we are recording at 4K resolution, 60 frames per second, 12,000 kilobits per second. That's mainly for streaming. Now the recording settings, we've got recording quality of indistinguishable quality, so you can barely tell the difference. Recording format MP4, and then the software X264 low CPU usage preset encoder. And I think that was what the problem was. Low CPU usage. Because the processor apparently can't handle what I was asking it to do. And I'm looking at OBS right now as I'm moving around, and so far it seems quite smooth. So I'm going to head down to the planet's surface. This is Groundbreaker, this isn't a planet. I'm going to take Vika and probably Pavati with me. And I'm just going to update you on what I've done in the previous episode that's now no longer a previous episode, if that makes sense. So the old episode 12. This is Groundbreaker. This is where we met up with Junlai. We also recruited Felix.
You see, we had a conveyor pull in? One of them interstellar jobs.
Okay, there's some stuff going on here. So, first thing I noted when I came back here. So we talked to Gladys, we completed the Roseway quest. It turned out that she actually wanted us to bring one of those researchers back with us, which I kind of had it in the back of my head that that's maybe what she was looking for, but it didn't really cross my mind to try and do that. I just wanted to complete the quests at Roseway. So it's only when we got back here, she suddenly started saying, all the conversation options were, I had weapon research, but I misplaced it, and things like that. And that's when I realised, maybe we were actually supposed to do something else with this. But I completed the quests on Roseway and I helped them out, so I'm not too upset by that. So I had to pay the 10,000 bits to get the pass to Stellar Bay, but we do now have the pass to Stellar Bay. Are you just guarding?
If you've got a maintenance issue, take it to Chief Junlei. She's an engineering.
Let's wait for her to disappear, because I've just realised we can go in here.
Okay, gone quiet. Nicely done.
So this is something new, which I've not explored before in here. But yeah, we bought the pass, so we can now, in theory. Who are you? Oh, you're an enemy. We can now, in theory, go to. Hang on, let me step outside before I do this next bit. We can now, in theory, go to Stellar Bay. We have the nav key to do that. But there was also the weapon that's here at Groundbreaker, which I wanted to get my hands on. So I spoke to Gladys again, and there was no conversation options for that. So I went into the trade menu as like a last-ditch attempt. I wonder if there's anything in here. And there are two items that you need to buy. One is, in fact, I can find them because I have them. One's the battered Mardet datapad, and the other one is, it's like the Hephaestus mining something or other. I can't remember exactly what it's called. It'll be in our inventory though, won't it? Thinking about it. No, captain's identification. So that's the datapad we bought. Stellar Bay nav key, Anton's passcode. We might not have it on our inventory anymore because we did use it in the ship. Basically, it's like a little... it's like terminal entries, basically, that tell us a little bit more backstory as to what it is we picked up. The reason I'm back here, and the reason I just found this, I'm just going to pop back in here quickly. We managed to find a way to go and get access to the
Looking sharp.
the weapon. So we now own the weapon. Oh, okay, this is the other door in from there. I gotcha. So yeah, I thought the weapon was up this way. Because if you come up here, you'll notice that here there is a way up. And if you jump up here, you can then jump across here. You then drop down here. You can then jump up here and across here and across here. And I thought like this would be the secret way through. And there'd be a little gap here that you could squeeze through, and it would lead you up and over and round, and eventually you'll end up, because the weapon, the marker for it was over in that direction. So I figured that's where it was going to be. Then I realised that there's a little platform here that I can also, whoops, jump to. But don't worry, because that door does nothing. Let me just get my health back up again. Let's try not to kill Parvati or Vicar while we're doing this. Yeah, they're both injured. Okay, so I did do a little bit of Googling just to get a helping hand. And all I read was go through here and immediately on your left. So I went through, immediately on my left, jumped up here, down here, and there was this guy here, I think. Was it him? No, there was an outlaw somewhere. I think it might have been that guy. And there was a mech, which is lying over there. Sam took care of the mech and did it perfectly, I must add. I didn't check down here, actually, when I was down here earlier. Yeah, some ammo. It's always good. But the weapon was stored behind a locked door here, which this guy, thankfully, had the key for. And the weapon was in this box here, this safe. There was a little terminal entry here as well that gave a little bit more info. So after I picked all this up, I went back to the ship. And, oh yeah, down, where is it? Here. Here's a little door. It just takes us back out to where we were. So the little restroom is here. That's where we jumped up the boxes and travelled across the top. So yeah, I went back to the ship and read the terminal entries that we bought from Gladys, and it just gives a little bit of backstory into the weapon that we picked up. I do have the weapon. It is this, the prismatic hammer. So there's some kind of backstory there. Then I went over to Lilia, who's at Sublight Scavengers, which is right over the back there, and she gave us a job to go to... where was it? This one. Lilia hasn't heard from her agent in Stellar Bay recently. Retrieve the information he's holding on the salvage location and deliver it to Catherine Malin in Fulbrook. So we're going to be doing that as well. But for now, we're going to be acquiring the science weapons, or at least trying to acquire the science weapons. So the next place I want to go to, we can fast travel here. I'll go through and get rid of all those stars in a second as well. So yeah, back on the ship.
Please, would you kindly inform the crew that long chats with Ada are not required every time the captain leaves the ship?
Okay. She's not in the best of moods, bless her. Her captain died, you know, what can you say? Ellie has an upgrade. Let's see what we've got here. Kind of want to give her maybe some more base health, because she gets down quite easily. Considering she's a doctor as well, you'd expect her to do a little bit better. Oh, I thought I said 3 points then. Can't read now. So yeah, we're not going to go to Scylla yet, but where we are going to go to is Phineas's lab, because we haven't been there since the very start of the game. So I want to chat to Phineas.
We have successfully arrived at Phineas's orbital lab, Captain, and we are still in one piece. Shall I congratulate myself, or would you like to do the honors?
I want to find out some backstory with Phineas, because we have an option to turn him in and get the bounty. So I want to find out who he is and why he's doing what he's doing, because chances are he might be a good guy. I have my doubts though.
Welcome back, Captain. Now that you have acquired a nav key to Stellar Bay, would you like me to contact Dr. Wells? I don't believe so, Captain. Transmission incoming.
Well done. You'll love Monarch. Exotic climate, violent native species, fascinating culture, really. You'll need to speak with Hiram Blythe. He's known as the information broker, and for good reason. If anyone knows where I can find those chemicals, it's Hiram. I need those chemicals to revive the Hope's colonists. They can help us fight back against the Board. They can help us set things right. If we don't put a stop to the Board, they're going to drive this colony toward a complete societal collapse. You'll see what I mean when you arrive on Monarch. No, never. Monarch is a hotbed of political activity. I can't imagine why Hiram set up shop there. Cuisine, perhaps? I certainly wouldn't call it boring, especially if your idea of fun involves navigating a hostile biosphere populated by carnivorous monsters. You'll want to hire the services of a skilled guide. I recommend a hunter by the name of Nyoka. Frequents the drinking establishments of Stellar Bay. Very hard to miss. Once you have everything you need, make your way to Hiram Blythe's compound. Come see me in my lab. I'll answer any questions you have. Best of luck. Everyone on the Hope is counting on you.
It's funny he mentions visiting him at his lab, because that's exactly... Whoop! Bit of stutter there. That's exactly where we are. Alright, I'm just going to pause the recording very quickly and do some quick tests to see if the recording is working okay. I'm just going to switch back to that quest as well before I do that. So I'll be back in just a second. Alright, I am pleased to announce it seems to be working. It seems to be working. Whisper it quietly, but it seems to be working. So we are going to go down to Phineas's lab. We're going to take probably the Vicar and Parvati again. I reckon Parvati's going to be the voice of reason and the Vicar's going to be the voice of sarcasm. I've got a few questions for this Mr. Wells.
Hello? Can you hear me? Does this work? Oh, damn it. Blast, that's loud.
Okay. I was hoping he might have some more things to say, but apparently not. Which way am I going? Doesn't look like there's anything here. This is very much like Groundbreaker. Reminds me a lot of Groundbreaker. Can't lockpick that yet. I don't know if I want to steal from the guy just yet. If he turns out to be a wrong'un, then we'll nick everything. But for now, I think I'll just leave things as are.
I'm just securing my ongoing experiments. And securing myself.
Okay.
Mind the mess. I haven't had a visitor since... in fact, I've never had a visitor.
Okay. Oh, there he is. It's not an enemy, is it? No. Bubbles.
Oh, thank the law. Your skin hasn't spontaneously changed color. Potential side effect of the revival process. Very rare, but you never know. Right. Welcome to my little habitation, such as it is. I've got caffeinoids, cysty bits, if you're into that sort of thing. So, welcome. Make yourself at home. My secret hideout is your secret hideout. Balderdash, you hadn't yet recovered your faculties of speech. What was I to do? Dear so-and-so, would you like to be shoved into an escape pod? Blink twice for yes? Still, I admit I may have been a touch hasty, even thoughtless. I do apologize if I rushed you. Not at all, my intrepid accomplice. I should thank you for tolerating my somewhat brusque manner. I only regret that I couldn't save more of your fellow settlers, what with being hunted by the board, and emptying my supply of necessary chemicals.
What are these chemicals he keeps talking about?
Of course. What's on your mind? Oh, it's not you. I do experiments in that room. Some of them get quite scientific. The unexpected is to be treasured, but from a safe distance. Regardless, it's quite comfortable in here, you know. I have my beans, have my caffeinoids, plenty of toilet paper. Absolutely. Let's talk. No, and I've been trying very hard to avoid making eye contact.
Ah, the wanted criminal himself. Pleased to make your acquaintance.
Wait, not another word. I don't want to know your name. I don't want to know who you are. Let's just enjoy our plausible deniability while it lasts, shall we? Why don't you just invite the entire colony to my secret, carefully concealed laboratory? It isn't as if I wanted privacy. Oh, very well. I can be a little cantankerous when I haven't had my caffeinoids. You have my apologies and so forth. For what it's worth, I am pleased that you found a crew, such as they are. You're a talented scientist after all. Our kind has always been incredibly popular. Yes, indeed. Well done. Also, you still haven't spontaneously liquefied, which pleases me immensely. Progress. What's on your mind? Absolutely. Let's talk. Oh, goodness, no. I wouldn't survive 10 seconds in the blackness of the aether. Well, no, I imagine I'd last at least 12 seconds before I'd lose consciousness and die of hypoxia. Life outside work? No, of course not. My life is my work. For that matter, everyone else's lives are also my work. An entire colony's worth of lives are at stake. It's up to me, up to us to set things right. To answer your question, I'd rather stay right here in my lab. There's too much work to be done. The Hope's colonists won't revive themselves, you know. Because we've lost our way, the board has a stranglehold over this colony, and we've all been conditioned into total obedience. The Hope is full of specialists, scientists, engineers, talented individuals like you, people who haven't been corrupted by the board. Unfortunately, the Hope's colonists have been frozen for decades, well past your shelf life, so to speak. No offense. Ah, you begin to perceive the truth. Yes, according to the board and their narrow-minded scientists, you should be a pile of organic sludge right now. 10 years. That's how long the average human can remain in hibernation. You were frozen for decades. In theory, you never should have survived the revival process. But the conventional theories are wrong. You're living proof that it can be done. There's yet hope for the Hope. Get it? We'll do our very best to save them all. I'd best get back to work. I can feel my last dose of caffeinoid fading.
Okay. Now before we take this, just want to make sure that we can just pick it up and walk out with it.
Aha! ride on a Marauder sometime.
Don't finish, I think I will.
I hope you're not thinking of ingratiating yourself with the board. Chairman Rockwell and his cronies are not your friends. They might tempt you with promises of wealth, but don't be fooled. They're just using you for their own ends. What's on your mind?
Okay, so he has nothing more to say. I'm wondering if there's a way we can get in to the room with him. That sounded really weird. That's not what I meant. Oh, is there an upstairs? What I mean is, I wonder if there's a door we can use to enter the lab, in case we do have to confront him at some point. I'm guessing this is the escape pod that he pushed us out of. Looks like it. What do we have here then? Very scientific. There's a terminal here. Aha! There's his door. Sealed. Okay.
Careful, that's my communications terminal.
Well, he's not left anything incriminating there. Let's just get a good look inside. Is that a door at the back? I think that's going to be our way in, you know. We just need to find a way to get to that door.
Reviving you from hibernation was my greatest accomplishment. Your odds of survival were a mere 28%. Ah, your old hibernation mask. Had to remove it, you know, in case you were prone to vomiting.
There's another terminal there. You're doing fine, M4J. I like how they've got these little things where it inserts your name. Even again there, he's not incriminating himself. Anything here? Experimental notes? So even here, he describes us as a new accomplice, not like stooge or idiot or anything like that. So I think he might be genuine. Maybe he's corrupted somehow. I'm keeping a very open mind. That's for sure. And again, no spoilers in the comments, please. No spoilers. I want to work all this out for myself, as long as it might take. Okay, maybe these are one of the escape pods. No, it must be on the other side. Because there's one missing. Okay, well I think that's everything here. So now... well, you've got some skill points that we can add. I might give you extra health. Same with the Vic. Actually, the Vicar... maybe this one. But for us... hang on, close that. So I want to go to... Stellar Bay. I think that's going to be the next best place to go. Okay, so there is some kind of secret entrance there. We will find that, don't you worry. Okay, back on the ship. Let's get ready to fly. We're going to Scylla for the first time. That is a long way away. Yeah, let's go to Stellar Bay first.
We're now in orbit above Stellar Bay, Captain.
Wow. That is a very beautiful looking planet. Hopefully it's coming out on screen as well as I'm seeing it. Alright, we're going to lose the Vicar for this one. We're going to take Ellie. We still got to get the Vicar kitted out in armour, of course. That'll happen at some point, I'm sure. Here we are, Stellar Bay. Stuff about remote landings. Ah. I need that. Otherwise I can't get down. Alright ladies, everyone seems to be okay. Here's our first point of contact by the looks of it.
Hey, hold on there. I gotta sign you in. Don't think I've seen you around. That means you must be new to Stellar Bay. You are new here, right? You must have seen those UDL gunships on your way in. There's only 3 of them these days. Still, they tend to scare folk off. You may not have heard, you being new, but Stellar Bay hardly ever gets off-road traffic. Us being cut off by the board and all. Which means I never get to do this part, but I've been practicing, so here goes. On behalf of Monarch Stellar Industries, welcome to Stellar Bay, home of the freshest sal tuna in Halcyon. Please state your name for the records. Swell. There's one for the logs. I'm even gonna give you your own entry code. I'm not supposed to do that. It's against procedure, but Mr. Sanjar isn't so strict about the rules here. Besides, I got a lot of empty entries to fill. We don't get ship traffic in town. Only off-worlders who do make it out here are sublight. They got a base in Fallbrook. And thank the stars for them, or we would have run out of Rizzo's Purple Berry Crunch years ago. Oh, that'll just make Mr. Sanjar's day if you tell him. The board makes up lots of nasty stories about raptidons and cannibals and whatnot. But that's all outside our walls. Mostly. Oh, sure. They make Stellar Bay sound like a rotten place, but it's not so bad. Get a good breeze going, and the sulfur smell mostly covers up the fishy smell. Anyway, Mr. Sanjar's got lots to say on that subject. Kinda goes over my head, though.
Lovely.
Mr. Sanjar will be mighty pleased to meet you. If you see him over at headquarters, maybe you could tell him I did a bang-up job of welcoming you? Oh, and if you're headed that way, maybe you could do me a favor? I got this Rizzo's Rangers Tosswell poster coming in on the next sublight shipment, signed by the Black Hole himself. Only I haven't heard anything in a while. You think you could check with Celia to see if it's come in? That's Bertie Holcomb, only one of the greatest Tosswell hackers ever.
I wonder if he's kin. Dad had family that worked for Rizzo's. I never got to meet them.
Everyone's heard of him, even on Monarch. We still get some of the games. You been living in a sulfur pit or something?
You could say that.
You're real funny. Guess I don't feel so bad for missing what goes on in the rest of Stellar Bay. I couldn't really say I'm just a fan of the game. But the fancy collector types say the more people see these things, the less valuable they are. And I figure my poster's been passed around by more than a few people by now. Thanks a bunch. Celia works for Mr. Sanjar in the MSI building next to the bar. She's always there, so you can't miss her.
Okay. And with that, we're in Stellar Bay. Sell some junk. Actually, what weapons have we got that we're not going to be using? I'm going to guess that these weapons on their own are pretty useless, but as soon as you combine them, that's when they become powerful. That's my guess. Yeah, I thought we had a tactical shotgun already. Assault rifle, we'll put that away. See, a lot of this stuff is quite valuable. We should probably put it in storage on the ship. Auto mag pistol, we got 2 of those, right? Yeah. There we go. Earn a little bit more money. That's why you're just a worker. There's a sealed door. God.
What are the chances of all the times and places we could have been born?
Yeah.
We're here, light years from Earth, going about our lives.
Every time the punch clock peals, a worker earns his meals.
What are you talking about?
Sorry, I thought you were quoting It's a Wonderful Directorate.
Laws. Can't a man enjoy the smooth menthol flavor of a Stogie Slim in peace? What I am doing, sir, is enjoying the moment. It's so rare that I can seize one apart from the jabbering masses of this wretched place. This law's forgotten town. Cut off from the rest of the colony. Removed from any culture. I recall when Stellar Bay was a proper board-affiliated town with regular shipments of Auntie Cleo's best and all the cereals. Before Sanjar took over MSI and got us all booted. Yes, free to wallow in squalor together. Free to squabble with the iconoclasts over a Raptidon-infested hellhole. Look, you're making me melancholy. Is there something you wanted? In case I did not impress it upon you before, I'd like to enjoy my solitude.
Guy's a bit of a douchebag. Here's Nyoka. We got to talk to her about something. Let's talk to the barman first.
Well, well. Isn't often we see new folk in Stellar Bay. First drink's on me, stranger. Enjoy. If you plan on sitting through Nyoka's stories, you might could use a few.
I could use a few and telling them myself.
Now what can I do for you? Thought it had a fancy ring to it. Name's the first advertising anyone sees, after all. Nope. But a man can dream. Thought it had a fancy ring. Don't be so negative. It's what's on the inside that counts. Speaking of, you look like you could use a bottle with something good in it.
Haha, nice try.
Not since Amber Heights. These days we have more leaving than coming. Off to join the iconoclasts or some such. Bunch of marauders broke into the executive compound, slaughtered everyone. Corporations pulled out of Monarch not long after. I thought everyone knew. But then that was 10 years ago. Still feels fresh to us every time we look at our walls, though. Anyone who spends any amount of time in this bar is bound to get to know Nyoka. On account of her being here so often herself. And I don't mean that unkindly. Anyone who's rid us of as many beasts as you have is entitled to a few drinks. Something else I can do for you?
I think that's it for now. Let's talk to Nyoka.
And the little bastard's slippery, right? On account of its blood. So it's sliding. All over the place. Trying to crawl away. Getting so I can't tell the blood from the mud. Don't interrupt. It's rude. But I gotta get in there. Get right in that baby rap's stomach and dig it out. If so much as a drop of stomach acid got on that medallion, shit, I don't know what I'd do. Might be I'd hunt every damn rapt out there. Right. What are you staring? Wait. You ain't from around here. Who are you? Ooh, charmer. Don't get a lot of that around here. Folks mostly grump at me about how I should join the MSI payroll. Nice change of pace. Buy me a drink, will you? Well. Let's get down to brass nuts then, shall we? Wait, that ain't it. Brass rats? Let's talk business. I'm headed back out there after I sober up. You want a guide sooner than that? You'll have to get me something to clear my head. Outstanding! Our dispensary here maintains a stock of, well, I don't rightly know what they are. Steroid or caffeine somethings? Pills. They're very good. I'm cut off for the month, on account of needing one just about every damn day. But I'm sure you've got your wily ways. Fetch me one and we'll be all set. Well, they work. We got a deal or what?
Okay. Gotta stop saying okay after literally everything that happens. Anyone here that I can parlay with? Hello, Caleb.
New face, huh? You from Off-World? A ship captain? Well, I'll be. Here, let me buy you a drink. Consider it an MSI welcome. Why don't you grab a chair, sit a spell and revel with us?
By the smell, he's been reveling enough for you both already.
Me and my friends have taken our destiny into our own hands. We're untethered, free of responsibility and worldly cares. Well, as long as we don't run out of bits. But until the windfall's gone, we're riding high. See, we just walked out on our work. Had enough, we did. So now we're striking. It ain't any one thing but the sum of it all, having to work longer shifts for less bits. And the wages we do earn don't cover as much as they used to. Our supervisor Velma goes on and on about quarterly profits and meeting quotas. But that ain't what Sanjar promised us. Velma refuses to negotiate, so we're refusing to work. We won't go back until she agrees to pay us fair and proper. Us on Monarch. We're free from the board, you know? We have the right to lobby for better hours and pay. I wouldn't doubt it. You look like the type who tends to come out on top. Not like us cogs, trying to be the squeaky wheel but just getting deadlocked. It's been days, but Velma won't even hear us out. Maybe you could just make her listen to our demands. You would do that? We sure are lucky you decided to come up to the patio today. I knew drinking up here would be good for more than the view. Sure thing. What did you want to discuss? Not forever, but we've each saved up our bits, and I stashed them safe in my home by the diner. I reckon we could last a week or two at least. If I knew that, I'd have tried it. Talking reasonably got me nowhere. Maybe you'll fare better. The others wanted to blackmail her, but we're above that. Besides, them are just rumors. We got no proof they're true.
Oh.
I would never endorse such an untoward tactic, you know, but, well, there's rumors that Velma's taking a cut off the profits. So far, it's just gossip, you know, but if there was any proof to be had, it'd be in the Saltuna warehouse, I reckon.
Alright, I'm going to do another pause and start of the video again, because it's telling me that the media encoder is getting overloaded again, so I think I'm just going to stop the recording, start again. So, back in a second. Okay, we seem to be alright. I think it was just a small encoder issue. The game seems to be running smoothly now with the recordings. I'll keep half an eye out though, just in case. I'm getting a bit of stuttering when I'm actually playing though, so I'll definitely be keeping an eye out on that. Don't suppose I could do anything with the sign, no.
I wonder sometimes what they're doing on other colonies.
So I have a side quest too. Where is it? That one. So I think we'll do this one first.
Uh-huh.
Celia.
They're watching the same serials, following the same tossball games.
Mm-hmm.
You're not listening to a word, are you?
This place is a lot bigger than the places we've been to before. It's huge.
My back aches and everything smells like fish. I just want to enjoy my beer.
These are all just residents. Looks like we're going in this door.
Could I get another advance, Mr. Nandi?
Just make sure it's properly logged.
I'll note it next to the others, sir. Greetings, and welcome to Monarch Stellar Industries, producers and purveyors of the finest salt tuna in Halcyon. What can I do for you today?
Or is he not paying you on account of how he tried to fix the thing his own self and busted it even worse, and then said you wasn't fixing it fast enough, so he's docking your wages again? Not that I got any prior experience with such.
Not at all. Mr. Nandi treats us all right and pays us well. I just spent most of my paycheck on Raptidon acid. Laws, no. Sometimes it's canid tea, or mantis worm wings. Whatever Sebastian has in stock, really. So I can talk to him, of course. He doesn't get going about much else.
I reckon she's got a little bit of a squish on this fella.
He's sort of the strong, silent type. Unfortunately, my apartment's kind of filling up with his stuff, and some of the neighbors are complaining about the smell. I couldn't. What if he says no? Hey, maybe you could ask him for me. I mean, a no would still be bad, but it won't be quite as embarrassing if you ask. Oh, Mr. Nandi's doing that thing where he breathes through his nose real slowly. I'd better get back to work. He doesn't talk much, but he's got this quiet intensity, you know? Like there's stuff going on inside his head that you have no idea about. Plus, he's got great legs. It's hard to find a man who doesn't skimp on lower body exercises.
Good to have standards, I guess.
I know what I'm looking for. You think that's what I'm looking for? You're funny. Not in Stellar Bay. Everyone else who isn't taken either smells like salt tuna or they're my boss. Besides, a man with a good smile and a proportionate upper to lower body ratio isn't something to pass up. Sorry, sometimes I get carried away. Have you talked to Sebastian yet? What did he say? You know, sending you is the first bright idea I've seen from that man, because I told him to stop bothering me about it a week ago. I still don't know anything about it, but if you want to help him, Velma's the one to ask. She's in the warehouse. But I'll warn you, Grim wore her patience thin a long time ago. Oh, have you talked to him?
Alright, time to talk to the boss.
Well, new business turns up at last. Celia, didn't I tell you our new statistics-based advertising model would be a hit?
That you did, sir.
How can yield improvements of 26.7% not quicken the pulse? How can 32% cost savings not moisten the loins?
You've often posed these very questions.
Clear my schedule. This newcomer has a meeting with me.
You'd be a hit in Byzantium.
Did you hear that power play, Celia? They don't make them like this anymore in Halcyon. I only hope you don't judge me by my handshake. Now, what business brings you here? Hiram? Why, he's probably still out at Devil's Peak. Not that he's had the courtesy to notify me, at any rate. But if you're here for him, I suppose that means you aren't here for Saltuna. Oh, a shame. I'd been saving a bottle of iceberg-aged whiskey for an occasion like this.
Seems like you're having a rough time, Mr. Sanjar. Are you doing quite all right?
Oh, don't worry on my account. This is merely the latest in a long line of professional erotic and athletic disappointments. Now, I had hoped that livening up our advertisements with enticing figures would draw the other corporations back to our bosom, but it seems we're back to the drawing board. Thanks to the so-called hazard clause, Monarch has been cut off from the board's resources and protection for 10 years now. Now, we've kept ourselves in business by trading with individual corporations, but given the off-the-books nature of those transactions, such arrangements are precarious.
Exactly what I would have said, if I'd been paying attention.
You talk like Graham.
Freedom always sounds nice, doesn't it? It makes a rather pretty slogan. But if you sit down and tally up the costs, how you provide for yourself in the absence of aid, how you protect yourself from a hostile galaxy, it starts to lose its shine.
Well, Mr. Nandi here has a rather ingenious plan to get MSI restored to the board.
On our terms, mind you.
Ingenious plan? Don't get me wrong, I'm starting to admire your sand, but I bet you could overcomplicate a sisty sandwich.
What a charmingly roguish turn of phrase. Allow me to express my thanks at your confidence and assure you that my plan is indeed sufficiently complicated.
And if our advertising scheme hasn't borne fruit, then perhaps it's time we took matters into our own hands.
It's true, our Celia is an alarmingly competent middle manager. At any other company, she'd be wasted in data entry. The plan she refers to is a two-pronged approach, and the first part involves seeing Stellar Bay properly defended. With a Bolt 52 cartridge, of course. If you can get us what we need to rejoin the board, starting the Bolt 52,
we'll be able to become one of the most productive and secure cities in Halcyon.
And you'll have a powerful ally on the board.
Why, one of the strongest defenses in Halcyon. An extremely powerful ordnance.
Never realized fighting the bureaucracy could be this interesting.
It is quite the rush. In the old arms building southwest of town, which used to be part of Stellar Bay before we had to move our walls in, these days it's overrun with marauders and raptidons. Do be careful. I've lost more than a few people to marauders and raptidons out there. Oh, and while you're at it, there should be a terminal in the arms building with some dangerous information. Perhaps you could delete it so it doesn't fall into the wrong hands. What can I do for you? I see. And was his delivery of the MSI authorized greeting up to snuff? Well, that's excellent. I'll see that your feedback makes it into his review. What else can I do for you? Then it's good that I keep such meticulous notes. I've asked myself the same thing many times, especially seeing as the legal mechanisms we employed were part of the board's own bylaws. Not intentionally, though that's technically true. For many years, this planet was home to as many corporations as Terra 2. But back then, it was known as Terra 1. Really? I always thought they were refreshingly straightforward names. After all, the whole point of terraforming was to make them Earth-like.
Here, though, the results were mixed.
And as the other corporations began to tally their losses, they decided to pull out. Our leadership at the time certainly wanted to, but there were others of us who saw an opportunity. The chance to improve working hours and conditions, to reform MSI from the ground up. It's humane, but it's also good business sense. Exhausted, sick, and malnourished workers are not productive workers. Even a cursory review of the data bears that out.
I hope you'd treat them nice, whether it was good business or not, Mr. Sanjar. That's what being a community means. Treating people right, because it's the right thing to do.
Like that's what you saw in Edgewater? Come on. People look out for themselves.
A noble thought, Miss Holcomb. Unfortunately, noble thoughts rarely sway board policy. Anyway, we learned of a loophole in the corporate bylaws that would allow MSI to claim ownership of the entire planet once the other corporations pulled out, creating the perfect environment for us to enact these new reforms. Oh, well, there were surely other junior executives with more open minds, though none of them had the temperament to handle the paperwork. No, they laughed in our faces and insisted we'd be relocating to Terra 2 along with everyone else. Yes, some of us stayed behind, and as the most senior executive remaining, I ended up in charge of what was left of MSI.
Must have pissed off some real big suits to get stuck with that.
On the contrary, I wrote lots of very important reports on behalf of top MSI officials before I was able to achieve this position. I moved forward with our planned reforms, as well as our strategy to assume ownership of the planet. Yet not long after I renamed it Monarch, the other corporations dislodged us from the board and began an official campaign to paint us as lawless savages. I don't know. Everything we did was legal and above board. We followed their rules, and yet they still found reasons to declare us outlaws. I do think there's something useful in a governing body like the board. Something that keeps us from anarchy, but I dearly wish it functioned differently. Why wouldn't anyone? They own nearly all the resources and infrastructure in Halcyon.
If you can't beat him, might as well join him and reach into their pockets.
To be on the board is to be part of the colonial community, and being cut off means slow strangulation. I'm not a man to put pride before progress. If membership on the board can ease our hardships and provide us with opportunities, then that's the path I mean to pursue. Besides, I'm hopeful that additional leverage on our part will allow us a more equitable relationship.
Don't get ahead of yourself, sir.
Yes, it'll be easier to explain once we have the Bolt 52. My hope is to maintain the reforms we've managed here, and who knows? Perhaps once we're restored, we could spread them to other corporations. It's a legal provision that gives the board the authority to cordon off any planet or location that it deems dangerous.
But wait, what happens to the folks stuck on the wrong side of dangerous?
I'm afraid the welfare of a few hundred people is too minor a figure into the board's risk assessments. Yes, making all of MSI criminals in the board's eyes. Rather hard to run a business that way. He and his followers call themselves the Iconoclasts. Lawless anarchists, all of them. If anyone on Monarch deserves the reputation the board's pinned on us, it's them. I'm trying to build something here. They only want to destroy things, and they risk ruining Monarch for all of us. It isn't just that they drain our people and resources. Every radical act they commit cements Halcyon's image of us all as destructive rebels, and pushes us further from the rest of the colony. He's lucky the board doesn't take him seriously enough to keep more than a few UDL gunships patrolling Monarch.
An Earth Directorate assault cruiser would change his tune. It's almost a shame we haven't seen one around Monarch in a long while.
What can I do for you?
I'm getting a funny vibe from that guy. Especially when he said about getting leverage on the board by using the weapon. That sounds very dodgy indeed. Executive. Unlock terminal. I actually quite like that top slogan. I think that's quite funny. Okay, nothing much there. So our goals now, we have quite a few little quests here. So I guess we can continue doing this main quest. Let's just check out some of these other buildings along the way. Who are you?
Wouldn't mind smelling like salt tuna if we could sell more. Worker. Oh wow, this place is massive. Velma. Okay, let's go talk to Velma.
Look, you can tell Catherine the new shipment will be ready when it's ready, all right? She's welcome to come up here and pack boxes herself if she's in such a hurry. Sorry. Seems I got my cables crossed. Thought you were another shakedown tough from Fallbrook. Hope you can forgive my temper. This job has been running me ragged lately. First, my autoloader foreman stages a walkout, and now my chief pescatological health manager is missing. Braxton. He's in charge of getting the fish fat, but also making sure they don't get too many tumors. He's a real wizard with pharmaceuticals. but he has creative notions of working hours. Comes with living in a free colony, I guess.
Uh-huh.
We're not keen on rules for rules' sake around here. Means Braxton skips work sometimes, but it also means no company boss is telling me when I can take a shit. Since you don't seem to be constrained yourself, maybe you could check up on him. He lives in the apartments. Tell him Velma said to get his lazy ass down here, or she might start noticing those extra jugs he's been taking from supply. Something else on your mind? Sublight boss out of Fallbrook. Handles most goods that come in or out of Stellar Bay. Has a mouth like a ground six spacer. Stealing's such a nasty word. Let's call it skimming. And yeah, let's just say I've noticed the stereobiotics we use for the fish would get used a little faster on Braxton shifts. We're not like those corporate towns where you get fined for sleeping on the wrong side of the bed. Besides, the Spacer's Choice stuff we use is cheap enough. And Braxton knows how to get the Saltuna, fat and mostly tumor-free. This again? I swear, this is the last time I contract for any special requests. You can tell Grimm his poster came in. You can also tell him I got a better offer for it. So now it's going to Nell. That about cover it? She runs the betting parlor across the way. Nice professional lady. She asked me about the poster once. Just once. Made a real generous offer, too. Damn right it is. It's staying locked up in my office until Nell shows with her money. No. I paid Sublight for it. So, it's mine. And when Nell pays me for it, it'll be hers. Grimm may have asked for the poster, but it's not his until I take his money. Sure can. If you want to pay me more than Nell's offering. Sure. And once you finish helping me, then we can talk about the poster. Fine by me. Unless you're here to tell me he's agreed to do his job again, I've got nothing to say. Tell him to complain to Catherine in Fallbrook, not me. Sublight's demanding more money for the same contracts, which means we're all in the same boat. Hard workers? They turn dials and flip switches. The machines do all the actual work.
I'll wager she don't pay those folks that maintain the mechanicals decent neither.
Caleb and his crew have it better than anyone else around here, I'll tell you that much. If Caleb wants to keep this job, he'd better get back to it. I'm about ready to hire Sublight contractors at this rate. Maybe so, but I bet you Caleb runs out of bits first. Then he'll have to come back. He says he's got a stash to tide his crew over. Could be he's all talk, but if the money's real, I bet you he keeps it at home. Near the diner.
You'd steal from your own people? That's low, man.
That's business. Someone's got to keep the lights on. For running me ragged while he takes an extended leave at the bar? Not on your life. Fine by me.
Okay, so it sounds like we've got some decisions to make there. Oh, that was a real frame lag then. And another one. Bloody hell. I might have to end the episode here soon then if we're going to keep lagging like this. So yeah, it sounds like we've got some choices to make. Oh, hello. We'll talk to this guy probably next time as well. Sounds like we have some choices to make regarding the money. Let's go find Sebastian to finish this off. Then maybe we'll go to Braxton's as well.
Velma seen out of sorts to you?
Yeah, let's go get Sebastian to talk to Celia.
Wrap Musk and Canadize, right here. Hello, stranger. Can I interest you in a Raptidon tongue? Or maybe some canid toenails? You look like a man who's looking for some mostly fresh animal parts? I don't know. Celia usually buys whatever I have, and Mr. Pickett seemed real interested. So I thought maybe I was onto something.
Mr. Pickett? Franklin Pickett from Edgewater?
That's him. He'd been here years, but he always talked about going back to Edgewater one day.
Sure. Mr. Pickett used to run the community center outside Edgewater. He had this grand idea to make it a museum for halcyon life. As my dad told it, Mr. Pickett was always going on about getting a manta queen for the last display. He left the Vale, gosh, years ago.
He came to Stellar Bay years ago, just before the board cut us off. Ended up stuck here. He was always real interested in our monsters. Manta queens, especially.
Oh no. I'm getting a horrible vibe about that guy.
Sure, they're real big. Hard to miss them. Well, I could send you to the same place I sent Mr. Pickett. But I haven't seen him in a few weeks. To tell true, I'm starting to get a bit worried about him.
Captain, can we look for him? I'd feel awful if somebody from home was in trouble and we didn't do nothing.
Tell you what, I'll tell you where I sent Mr. Pickett if you promise to look for him. Help him out if he's got himself in trouble. Fair deal?
Thanks, Captain.
All right then. Leave town through the southern gate, the one right here, and head past the abandoned ruins. Last Mana Queen I saw was in the wilds out that-a-ways. Could be Mr. Pickett's still out there, too. Huh. I haven't seen her in a few days, but I've been meaning to ask her how that Raptidon acid is working out. I hope it's working okay, because no one else really seems interested in this stuff. Nice of you to say. I like her, too. Wait, I see what's going on. She put you up to this so she could get a discount, hmm?
Oh, no, that's not it at all. She's smitten with you. You smited her. Smote? Smoot?
Don't get me wrong. I'd like to give her a discount. She's a real fine lady. Always talks nice and slow, so I understand. But if I give her one, I won't hardly make a bit, on account of no one else having any use for Raptidon tongues. You sound pretty sure. And she is awful nice.
Give her a chance. Give yourself a chance. Take her someplace nice.
Okay, I'll do it. Once her shift ends, we'll go someplace nice. Maybe to Chef Raymond's.
That's the spirit, Sebastian. Be yourself. Between you and me, Captain, I'm not sure Miss Celia knows him too well, but we can hope, right? I want them to be happy.
Alright, and I think that'll do it for this episode. Oh, that name looks familiar.
Sir, please, I need your help. I can pay. Oh, thank you for stopping. Everyone acts like nothing's wrong, like my little boy isn't at risk of being eaten by some vile creature. Please, you have to help me get my little Tucker back. He ran away and is going to get himself killed. Oh, I just know a Raptidon is melting him with acid as we speak.
It's more dissolving than melting.
That is not helpful. Don't you tell me to calm down. I promised my boy I'd protect him for always. But How can I keep him safe if he's run away? He ran out into the wilderness a few days ago. I warned him about the raptidons, mantisaurs, and marauders, the toxic sulfur pools, and poisonous plants, but he didn't listen.
Oh, law, Captain. A youngster won't last long in a place like this. Please, can't we help?
Please, won't you go and find my boy? Thank you. Oh, I know he'll be safe now that someone's able to fetch him home. You look for him in Amber Heights, you hear? It's down the road southwest of town. I'm sure he made it that far. I just know it. And if you find any of them iconoclasts indoctrinating my boy, you punch them in the mouths. Tell them what I think of them luring little boys away from their mamas. It's immoral.
Okay, with that, we're going to end the episode here. So we picked up a few side quests here. We picked up some good XP as well while we were here. So next time out, we're going to go give the good news to Celia. In fact, she's right bang there. We're also going to go and sort out the poster incident and some of the other stuff there. We're going to talk to Zheng as well, because anyone with a name, pretty much, I want to talk to and find out more about. And yeah, we're going to complete all the side quests here in Stellar Bay. So until next time, guys, thanks very much for watching. Don't forget to hit the like button if you enjoyed the video, and of course if you enjoyed the series. If you haven't already subscribed to the channel, be sure to hit the subscribe button. If you have already subscribed to the channel, thank you guys for your continued support. You can also drop some comments down below as well. Give me a few pointers on things that I might have missed. No spoilers as always. And until next time, I will see you soon.